Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I was tagged by the very, very beautiful new Nisi to film one of the post-op to pre-op tag videos that's been going around. This tag's been going around for maybe 2 weeks or so, and basically it's people who are post-op giving advice to people who are pre-op. And honestly, I'm only about 3 months post-op, so I didn't think I was really in a good position to to do it. I feel like I'm still pretty new and I'm still gathering advice from people who are farther out. So I didn't think I don't know, I just didn't think I was qualified enough to make one of these, but she was so kind as to tag me, so I'm going to give it my best shot here. I would recommend that you watch so many of the other good ones that are out there, because like I said, even being post-op, I've really learned a lot. There's a lot of wisdom in this tag that's going around. So having said that, here's my list of advice of what I would say to folks who are post-op. I mean pre-op. Things that surprised me, really, as I went through the process. Things I wish I knew, or that I didn't know before, but I learned along the way. So first thing that absolutely surprised me is that the surgeon is here to sell himself to you. Because this is, to a certain extent, an elective surgery, the surgeon is trying to make you choose him when you go to him. And maybe if you live in a small town, you don't have a lot of options, but I think in a lot of places you do have a lot of options for who your surgeon should be. So anyway, for instance, the way my process was, first I moved here and I didn't know anybody. Well, my boss at work recommended her general practitioner. So I went to this lady, and she recommended an endocrinologist, and she recommended a dietitian that I ended up building a really great bond with, and started seeing the dietitian month after month. And when I finally decided on having weight loss surgery, she is the dietitian for like 6 or 8 different surgeons. So she knows the community well, and she told me, look, this surgeon this surgeon that, blah blah blah, and based on her recommendation, I went with the one I went with. So anyway, when I went to meet with him for the first time, it was like he was not interested in me. He was interested in telling me why he was the best surgeon there was. And I had already decided on him, so that like sales pitch in a sense wasn't so necessary in my case, but I realized like maybe I could shop around for surgeons. So I guess my point is that you can shop around for surgeons. And if there's something about the surgeon that you have that you really don't like, you can find another one and do your research, read reviews, get recommendations from other folks in the medical community. And but also keep in mind that your surgeon is just like one piece of a very big thing that's happening here, right? So like at 3 months out, I'm not seeing my surgeon anymore. I still see my endocrinologist, my general doctor, my dietitian, and like each one of these professionals plays a different role that's necessary in your process. So anyway, that's what was surprising to me about the surgeon. Also, I would say research the difference in the different surgeries. So I decided to go with the VSG because well, initially, a couple of my coworkers had it done a couple of years ago, and I saw their process and their success. But because of that, I was kind of introduced to what weight loss surgery was in general, and I researched what the different ones were and went to the seminar and learned all about them. But I would say, in general, before you decide to jump into things, do your research about which surgery you want and why. Next thing that has absolutely surprised me is that post-op, I can still eat basically anything I want in very small quantities, but I definitely kind of panicked immediately before I had my surgery and had these like food funerals. I went out and ate like everything because I thought I wasn't going to be able to eat delicious things ever again. That is false. You can absolutely eat all the delicious things. I mean, some people end up having some kind of like lactose intolerance post-op, and some people like have really bad reactions to things that are high in sugar, but I think for the most part, in moderation, you can still eat all the things. So, for instance, I absolutely love like queso dip, and I ate so much of it before my surgery just because I thought I was never going to be able to eat that again. False. You will be able to eat what you want, just in tiny quantities. So Don't go crazy. Okay, what I really did not know was how crazy my hormones would be post-op. So what I didn't learn until afterwards is that because your body is losing fat so quickly, the fat like dumps this estrogen into your system and you just go haywire. And so for the first I think it was in the first 50 days, I had my period for like 25 days on and off. Like before the surgery, I was so regular. My period was like a day and a half tops, like super predictable. Post-op, it has been a wild ride. In addition to like period being wonky, you just feel like emotionally all over the place. There are days when I'm just like so angry, I just want to like throw things. I'm like the Hulk. And there are some days where I'm just like I cry over everything, and then some days that are normal. But like I realize that this is all part of the process, and that's not something you can really affect, I don't think, but it's something you might want to like prepare yourself for mentally. Next is the thing that surprised me, the powerful effects of dehydration. So, before surgery, I used to drink a lot of water. In fact, maybe too much. I used to have to pee like every 30 minutes all the time. And now, I get like 72 ounces of water a day, and I'm very careful about that because if I'm ever short on my water, I feel dizzy, lightheaded. I'm 3 months out. This is still happening. So, if I get up too fast, everything kind of spins. That is a sign to me, like that still happens, that is a sign to me that I need more water. So I am very, very careful about how dangerous the effects of dehydration can be. Another thing that people did tell me, but I wasn't really expecting to happen to me, was that I am cold all the time. Now, pre-op, I was hot all the time, like sweating all the time. Now I'm freezing all the time. Okay, it's the winter, but still, I could be in a warm environment. I sleep with like socks and sweatpants and sweatshirt on and extra blankets and like the heater's on. Where it's not like we're sleeping with like snow coming in the house. Like I'm just always cold. So that is something I definitely did not expect would happen to me, and it has. Something else that some people said, but I wasn't so fully grasping, and again, like all of these things, I think people can tell you, but until you have the surgery, you really don't fully understand how it's going to impact you. But I absolutely still feel like I'm dieting. I thought this surgery was going to be like restriction and that's it. I thought that I could still eat whatever I wanted. Well, I know earlier I said about the food funerals and stuff, but that was after I was educated about the surgery. Before that, I thought the point of the surgery was to just kind of like force me to eat small quantities and that's it. Yes and no. To do it right, that is how you feel now. Like I could in theory kind of eat anything in small quantities, but that's not good. So I still have to follow a certain plan, and maybe it's better if you don't think of the word diet, if you think plan, if you think like I have to get so many grams of protein and I have to be under this many carbs and under this many fat and like this many calories. But like you are absolutely following a diet plan post-op kind of forever. The thing about the surgery is that it does make it easier, much easier to stick to this diet than any diet ever was before. I promise you, it's definitely easier to stick to. But you can't just eat like pizza and chocolate all day because you'll be sick. And that's the thing, is like you have to eat the right things, because otherwise, even before, otherwise your health would be seriously affected. But now it's like the serious effects that kind of diet would have on your life are immediately noticeable, right? So you really have to stick to plan. You kind of have no choice, otherwise you will be sick. So that's good and bad, I guess. Another thing that I didn't fully prepare myself for is how expensive this is. So even though insurance covered, I have insurance, the surgery was covered, my copays for the doctor and all this, and my out-of-pocket wasn't that high relative to some other people. I know what other people paid. You still don't realize like, oh, all your vitamins are super expensive and you have to buy them all the time, kind of like forever. And your doctor's visits, your copays, and your blood work and all this. So like all of that adds up. Plus like the special things you kind of have to eat can be expensive. You can't just like pay $5 for the drive-through at McDonald's anymore for your meal, like, and so I think I didn't fully grasp that this would be so expensive. But at the same time, I guess I do spend less on groceries. I definitely eat much smaller quantities than I did before. Like, an amount of groceries lasts me much longer than it did before. So, balance, I guess. Oh, okay. So then my next thing is about support groups. I didn't realize how important they would be. I didn't start going to support groups, my local support group, until after the surgery. And I guess that's fine. Some people go before, and that's cool. I think you probably should go before just to like hear other people's experiences. But I thought it was like, whatever, take it or leave it. I didn't realize how important it would be to have a support group and community. I mean, I'm very lucky in my life. I have my husband and my mom are both super supportive and on board with this and helpful in every way. But at the same time, they haven't experienced this. They don't know. They don't really fully understand what it's like, right? And so I can explain it and like talk through my thought process, but there's just something so powerful about like finding your community. And that's one of the great things about the YouTube weight loss surgery community, honestly, is that you can find people who are like-minded. You can find people who have had like the full gamut of experiences, good and bad, and everywhere in between. You can see people try things, try other things, see how it goes. And so this kind of support community, whether it's local, whether it's online, whether it's Instagram, whatever, it's really, really important. And it's not just like a nice to have, like it's a must have, I think. And the last thing I would say is advice to someone who is pre-op is to don't forget to honor your past self. I know a lot of times, or maybe just me, I don't know, I thought about forgetting that I was ever as big as I was and like delete all those pictures and like we'll just pretend it never happened. But I think that's a bad way to look at it. I think it's important to honor where you came from and honor the fact that that was your past, and everything in your life that led up to this surgery decision has made you who you are. And so I think it's important to not try to like, I don't ever want to look at those pictures and like I don't want to think about what it used to be like. I think it's important to remember that and to know that that was a part of you, and that in a way that version of yourself is a part of you now and always will be. So that would be my last piece of advice, is to honor your past and to continue to love yourself. And the surgery is just one part of a very long life that you have. And so don't let it define your past. It's just one part of it. And so yeah, that's what I've got. If you've got any questions, I'm happy to talk to you anytime. Thanks so much for watching. Okay, bye.